come along. I put a spell on you.
8, 5, 3.
Grid is live. Initiate light cycle battle.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
For a safe trip, remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the cabin. Be sure to watch your children, and no smoking, please.
Welcome to the Pirates and Princesses podcast.
We're a different kind of Disney podcast. We do it our way.
We talk about Disney parks, Disney movies, TV, video games.
Anything Disney.
I'm your host, Tom Pratt.
And I'm your other host, Cambria Pratt.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Tom. I'm here with Cam. Together we're Tom and Cam.
Hello. Or Cam and Tom.
Or Cam and Tom.
Yeah, that gets old. People are probably tired.
Whatever you want to call us. Well,
yeah, be careful.
Be careful what you wish for. This is Pirates and Princesses. This is our opinionated Disney podcast. And this week we're going to give opinions on Disney World. We got back. We went down last week, checked out Galaxy's Edge in Disney World for the first time since they opened Rise of the Resistance. Got to ride it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about these crazy ticket price increases.
Yep, and other news.
And other news, whatever we think of. So bear with us. Please subscribe wherever you found this podcast at, whether it's on a network like Stitcher or iTunes or even YouTube or Instagram or wherever. Please go out and support us and help us grow the podcast again, because it's been a while.
You can always go to piratesandprincesses.net to also see the website, which we update every day with news stories.
You mostly.
Well, I update every day with news stories.
So
you just stopped and looked at me.
Well, that's the truth. Actually, Cam does most of the stories now. I don't really have a lot of time to do that. We're doing other stuff too. But we had time to go down to Disney for a couple of days.
We did. We went down for 3 days.
We went down for 3 days, beginning of February. We got to ride Rise of the Resistance. It didn't break down. Well, it did break down briefly that day, but it did not break down with us on it.
Right. It was fine by our turn.
So I think we can give an educated, informed opinion on the ride, because a lot of people haven't ridden it yet, and they want to know, is it worth it? Is it worth getting up at friggin' 5 o'clock in the morning to go ride this ride?
Well, I would say for now, yes, because if you really want to ride it, you're going to need to get up earlier. You will say no.
Yeah, we're kind of split on this. Now, just to backpedal a little bit, how we got on Rise of the Resistance is we did the 5 o'clock thing. We got up and we actually were staying at the beach club. So we picked the beach club on purpose because we could walk right there. Right. So we were able to walk to Hollywood. We got to Hollywood right around 6:30, something like that.
No. It was like 6.
It was like 6. We stood in line for a while. They left us wander around the park, and everybody had their cell phones out because at 7 o'clock on the nose is when the boarding passes go live. Yeah, but here's the thing. A couple things. One, we got there and they got scanned in, and we were actually close enough to the front. And they opened it like 6:20, something like that, less than 6:22. We were in the park. Now, we could have, at that point, you're allowed to go. If you go to the right, you can go to Toy Story Land. If you go to the left, you can go to Galaxy's Edge. And you can get down by the front if you're in there first, which we could have done. We actually did go down to Toy Story Land at first, and then we decided that was probably a bad idea and came back. The reason being is because when you're around a lot of people are hitting the Wi-Fi. Even if you have your own on your phone, which you don't use their Wi-Fi, use your phones, it still blocks it. And I've heard many stories from people where they couldn't get through fast enough and they got stuck in the overrun groups because too many people were trying to hit their phone at the same time. So we actually did what our friends Lance and Lauren suggested, which was to go to an area that a lot of people weren't at. Got right through, boom. Yeah, we went over by the entrance to the launch bay area, over by the everybody's gonna run over there now, over by where the popcorn. By the Brown Derby. Brown Derby, yeah, between the Brown Derby. There's little benches there. We sat down because we weren't in a hurry to ride anything. We rode Millennium Falcon before this. Yeah. And so we were just like, okay, no big deal. So we went and sat there. If you really want to ride something at Galaxy's Edge or Toy Story Land, I recommend going to those areas. Unless you really don't care if you get Rise of Resistance, because people are getting them. But I'm just warning you that because depending on your service, with all the people there slamming their phone, it might cause you to not get through as quickly as you'd like. Yeah, and I mean, they go quick, too, because we had some friends of ours were down there, and I got a text that they got a boarding group that was, like, way after us, and they were only, like, a minute behind. I think.
Right, we were on there as soon as it went live. Like, boom, got it refreshed. And then, actually, my phone screwed up to a minute, so it took us a few seconds longer, and we were boarding group 31.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was about, 11 o'clock in the morning, I think?
Something like that, and that's after it had a delay.
Yeah.
So, it was down for a little bit, and then it was back up. But, so we went and rode that, but we're kind of not going out. Are we going to go in order of the trip, or are we just going to talk about Rise of Resistance first, then talk about everything else?
Most people who are listening to this podcast are going to be interested in Rise of the Resistance, because that's the new thing.
So how it's set up right now is they call your boarding group. You do the thing on the My Disney Experience app to get a boarding group. They will alert you on your phone when your boarding group is called. We kept checking it, so we knew. And actually, we were standing right there when the boarding group got live. I think we were the first ones in our boarding group.
Yeah.
Because we knew it was coming. It was going to be any time now. So it's when you go into Galaxy's Edge from the side where the Muppets Courtyard is, it's right there for Rise of Resistance. It's like one of the first things that's on your left-hand side when you go in.
Yeah.
And we got through, and you can talk about it now, because I've been talking long enough.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I guess, are we talking about, like my feelings on the ride?
Well, we can talk about the ride in general first, like what, or you...
Well, yeah, we can talk about that. Now, we're going to have a ride through up here shortly. We got to go through the queue because we were one of the first in the boarding group. It was very empty. I got all kinds of video of the queue and everything. It's an impressive attraction. I think, I'm going to be honest, given the hype that this ride has had, I actually expected more.
Yeah.
I'd
agree with that.
Is that, like, I mean... And you can't say that. I said on Twitter, I actually said it was a good ride. I just don't know if it's, personally for me, if it's worth getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning for a chance to maybe possibly ride it. Because one, it's not going anywhere. And two, it's good. It's very good, but I don't really know how re-rideable it's going to be.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you want to ride it really bad, it's something you really want to do, then definitely get up early. While they're doing the boarding pass thing, eventually they're going to switch it over to probably Fast Pass at some point. But right now, it's boarding groups only. I recommend you get up early and you go in and wait and get your boarding pass for it. It's definitely worth it for the first time, at least, to get up early, I think. Yeah,
I mean, if you planned a whole trip around going to Galaxy's Edge and riding Rise of the Resistance, absolutely, you're going to have to get up early and do it. But, again... My feeling on this is, long-term, is this ride going to be one that I ride again and again and again? And I'm going to be honest, no. Yeah, there's not many variations on it. Now, I will say, too, as long as you're inside the gate at Hollywood Studios by 7, when it goes live, you have a chance of getting a boarding pass. So... You don't have to go as early. We got there early. We basically sat around, because if you were going to go try to get into the line for Toy Story Land or Galaxy's Edge and you want to be at the front of the line, then you get there early. If you don't care about that, you're just there to ride the ride and get a boarding pass, then you can show up even like 5 minutes till 7 that you're in the park and you're fine. I just want to put that up first. You don't have to get up so early. As long as you're there when it opens. Now I think it's opening at 8, so as long as you're there by 8, that kind of thing. But yeah, the ride itself is kind of misleading because they talk about it being this 18-minute ride. But it's not really an 18-minute ride. No, and, I was talking to our son about that, too. We go for walks, we talk about stuff a lot, and we were talking about this ride because he was really excited to ride it. And my feeling on it is it's basically, 15, 20 minutes of queue, and then, 6 minutes of actual ride. Yeah. Because the part that you see the most of, spoilers if you haven't, everybody's like, oh, don't spoil the ride. I'm like, there's all kinds of pictures out there. So, spoiler warning. If you've seen most of the pictures of the ride, it is the trackless ride system vehicle. Right. It's going to be similar to what they have in Ratatouille. That portion of the ride is only the last couple minutes of the experience. Yeah, it's only the last 6 minutes of the experience. Right. And so what you're basically doing is you're going from 2 different ride systems. You're going from the first ride system, which is the shuttle that's supposed to take you to the Star Destroyer. And that's kind of one ride system, but it really doesn't feel like a ride. You're basically in a vehicle, standing up. It jiggles a little bit. We've got some really impressive animatronics. I mean, I'm not going to lie, the animatronics are impressive. But then you get out and walk into the Star Destroyer, and it's a very... But you missed the whole other part before that. The whole part where you have to sit through the here's Rey's hologram, and that's part of the ride, too. That's part of the ride, too? Yes. Okay, we're just going to consider everything part of the ride. getting the boarding pass is now part of the ride.
I mean,
so
you
now
have to go
it's a
through
4-hour ride.
Through the hologram explanation first. That explains why you're there, explains the ride.
But that's every
then
ride.
you go to the shuttle area, which is another part of the ride where it is like a shuttle thing, but it's a ride. There's a cool animatronic in it. Yeah, you're up. This is how you get into space. Then you get. Then the first order comes in and tells you you're captured and you're taken out into the stormtrooper room that everybody's seen pictures of.
Yeah, but that stormtrooper room again is like part of the queue.
And it wasn't as big as I thought it would be.
It wasn't. It actually.
Did you think that too?
Yeah, I did. I was like, because everybody's talking about like how massive it is, and you see the photographs of it, and sort of the perspective they're playing with it. They film it at a certain angle to make it look like it's bigger than it actually is. It really isn't that big.
It's cool.
It's cool, and I'm not.
And they're animatronics. Some of them move and stuff. I noticed.
Some of them,
not all of them.
Most people aren't going to notice them until you get into the ones. But really, again, it feels like even the part where you're on the transport, with the Admiral Akbar knockoff, Wreck.
Oh, Lieutenant Beck.
Beck, Wreck. I couldn't remember what his name was. The Blue Admiral Akbar, right? So even when you're on that shuttle, it still feels like part of the queue.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it's all supposed to be part of the queue, but I'm sorry, the
experience.
We're making air quotes, experience.
So what they're doing, and it's misleading, is they're trying to tell you that this is like an 18-20 minute ride. It takes you 18 to 20 minutes to get through the whole experience, but the actual ride portion of it is only about 5 or 6 minutes.
Right, and this is all, and you're like, why does it matter? It does have a point. We'll get to it eventually. There is a point we're bringing all this up. So you go into the area with the First Order troopers, and then you're taken to another section, which is the First Order, people in charge who move you through lines, assign you a spot, move you through the ride. And then you get put in a cell, and that's where you see like the stormtroopers up the top with Kylo Ren. And then the ride actually starts, because then, I'm not going to ruin it after that, but that's when the actual ride starts, that you're taken to your vehicle, put in your vehicle, and then you are sent on the ride. Now, why does it matter about the queue? It matters about the queue because a lot of people are getting upset because they're not being put through the queue. This 18-minute experience is being cut short, and they're coming in directly from the line into where the First Order have captured you without the backstory or the capturing.
Yeah, that's kind of like, that's the whole purpose of this. And the reason that the queue is so important is because that is the story.
That's the explanation.
I will give them props. It literally is the most immersive attraction Disney's ever done.
Oh, it was cool. It was fun.
It's almost LARPing-like. And
yes.
the cast members are excellent.
They're very good actors. They're very good.
And I'm not going to knock that, but there are a couple snags here beyond the fact that when things break down, you miss out a huge part of the story, but it's also complicated. It's complicated for, I noticed a lot of, grandparents that were in they didn't know which way to look. They didn't know how to respond to the cast members. They weren't quite sure what's going on because most people are used to just getting in line and getting on the ride,
right,
riding it and getting off.
Yeah, and even when they had the great movie ride and you had actors in that, it was on the ship with you, or the little ride vehicle with you, so it wasn't so confusing. But yeah, so they funnel you through and then they put you on the ride. But what's going on is a lot of people are getting that whole explanation cut out, and you're just being dumped into the Star Destroyer and then put on the ride, and you're like, how the heck did I get here? So that's one place people are having trouble with it. Also, the animatronics have been breaking in the ride, which people are like, I had to go through all this trouble, and now I can't see the queue and the animatronics break. But after you get on the ride, it's actually pretty cool. I think my favorite part of it were the walkers.
Yeah, the walkers are cool.
Are very cool. However, my son did bring up a point. They have blaster fire, and basically it looks like the projections like you see on Cinderella Castle is how the blaster fire looks.
Yeah.
And it looks very flat. So it doesn't actually translate well for blaster fire.
They couldn't actually, I don't know, part of me is couldn't they set some flashes off or something?
Well, that would damage stuff over time.
Yeah, then people would go into seizures and complain or something.
It would just be dangerous, I think.
Burn people. You've got little smoldering sparks.
For what they had to work with, they did a good job.
Yeah.
But it does kind of seem a little flat.
It seems a little Spartan too, because I guess I expected, because they're kind of using the universal trick of screens for pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's true.
And, that's fine, but you never get that full, I love the Disney rides where it's just jam-packed full of animatronics, and there are some cool animatronics when they work, but Again, a lot of it, stormtroopers and stuff like that, it's all on screens.
Now, where you might have rideability again with this is there are 2 vehicles at a time, and they're on 2 different tracks. So you might be able to get on the other track if you ride it again, and it gives you a different perspective because you're going a different way. You go up against the probe droid, different things that we didn't do. So there is that. If you ride it again, you might get the other vehicle that might give you something different. So, in that regard, you might be able to ride it again, and you'll get a different experience because the vehicles do go kind of a little bit different. You're on the opposite side of the animatronics at the one point and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and this is where I'm torn because it's like it's an amazing attraction. It is, but I think I almost feel like early reactions really oversold the ride. Like,
imagine that.
Yeah, because I mean, it's one of those things where, because that night we actually went and rode, at least, my son and I went and rode Flight of Passage again. I'm like, I never get tired of Flight of Passage. I can ride I can ride Thunder Mountain over and over again. I can ride Flight of Passage. Haunted Mansion. And I think Rise of the Resistance just seems like such an ordeal that it's not what, like, if I'd already ridden it and I skipped it on my next trip, I wouldn't be heartbroken.
Yeah, I think because you have to invest a lot into it.
There's a lot of investment.
Right. And the other part I really liked about it was they have the big guns that you go under towards the end. Cool. And that is really impressive. Because I think the reason I like the walkers and the guns is because it just really shows you the scale of what you'd expect on this Star Destroyer in Star Wars. And those 2 elements especially really, really sold it, I think.
Yeah, it felt like, it did feel like a set. It did feel like a set. So that's just kind of our reaction to it. You see so many people gushing about it, and I don't want to minimize how cool the ride is, but I also don't want to oversell it. And a lot of people, I think, they were so wowed by how big it was that they really... and the only one I saw that was really fair about it, I think, was a Disney Tourist blog. Mm-hmm. Tom Bricker basically said, it's an amazing attraction, but he's like, I don't even know if I would put it in the top 10.
Yeah, honestly, I have a lot of attractions I like more. And when you got off and talked to cast members, they're like, oh, wasn't it the best thing ever? And I was like, it's okay. I mean, it's really good. I'm not saying it's not good, but is it my favorite ride? Do I think it's the most impressive ride ever? No, I honestly don't. But it's really, really good.
Yeah, I think the other concern I have is I don't think it's going to age terribly well because it's based on the sequel trilogy, which has not been nearly as popular as Disney had hoped.
But it would be so easy to just to go back and make it original trilogy or whatever else in the future.
Yeah, they could definitely retrofit it because the way, even the bridge and stuff where they have Kylo Ren and Hux looks more like where Vader would be with Piet, and we've got the walkers that look like original trilogy walkers.
Right. Well, I think because it was originally planned to be original trilogy, which we know. So I don't think it would be very hard for them to make changes there. Yeah,
and personally, I would rather see an amazing Darth Vader animatronic than Kylo Ren, and even all that, like the whole lightsaber bit and all that, because he's got the red blade. They could very easily switch it over to original trilogy. Right. That might have been the plan. That might have actually been the backup.
I don't know,
plan.
but I mean, it's really cool. And the second Kylo Ren animatronic figure, they have a B mode for it, where if it breaks, they have a screen instead, or he's in his TIE fighter. But it was pretty cool. I mean, that animatronic moved really well because they act like it's supposed to, like, something shoots it and it opens the vacuum and he moves and stuff's flying. It's actually really cool. But we're not going to oversell it on you. Is it worth getting up early to go to? I say yes.
To do once. If you've never ridden it before and you only get like one shot to ride it, definitely. Personally, I would, if you're planning your entire trip around it, I would wait a few months until they get some of the bugs worked out. Because it's not breaking down as often.
No, nowhere near as often.
But it would really suck to go the whole way down to Florida, if you're flying in, only to not be able to ride the attraction or have a diminished experience on it,
So that was actually our second day there. The first day we got down, we went to Epcot, which is a mess right now. Putting it nicely. There's walls everywhere, guys. Epcot is all walls. In Future World.
Yeah, what's left of Future World? There's not going to be much left of it. And I mean, again, this is one of those things where it's like, if you only go once every couple of years, I can't in good faith tell you to go right now.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to check out Epcot, because one, they're still building some of the new attractions, Ratatouille and Guardians. They're not open yet. Spaceship Earth is going to get a major overhaul. They're going to have all this construction until 2023. If you're looking for that, like, perfect Disney experience, right now is probably not the time.
Literally, when you walk in, if you're walking in from the Future World entrance, there is a wall right in front of you by Spaceship Earth.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's bad. There's like a whole wall going on the whole way up on the one side, and you get this past Spaceship Earth, and then they close the Fountain of Nations. Mouse Gear's under construction. The Fountain View and all that's gone. One big wall in front. There's like literally paths with walls leading you to either side, east and west. Because they have right now test tracks tore up, and then they're putting all that Moana water feature in and all that. It is in Future World nothing but walls. They were able to keep the living statues. They put them over by the back entrance of Mouse Gear if you're heading towards Mission Space.
Yeah, Mouse Gear even is, people were asking us, they're like, how is Mouse Gear? I'm like, it's not very good. It's like,
at least it's something, but it's nowhere near as much stuff.
Nowhere near as much. And again, this is like, look, there are growing pains, and then there's like, wow, what a pain. And this is kind of, reminds me of Hollywood Studios when they were tearing everything up to get ready for Toy Story and Star Wars.
Is worse.
It's more intrusive.
Because those were on the back side. This is right in the middle. And now Mouse Gear is just right across from where it was. Where Interventions was, they had the house and that you could walk through. It's like literally right, like just you could walk a few feet and you're right there. So it's not like located somewhere hard to find. It's right where it was. But it isn't as big. But it's temporary. They're redoing it. Then World Showcase is fine for the most part. I mean, they're working in France, obviously.
Yeah, but it's not intrusive at all. And again, that's the difference I think with this is because they're basically tearing up half of Future World. They're knocking down half of Interventions. There's a lot going on, and it's very wall-y.
It's a wall. They make them pretty with pictures.
They make them pretty, but
there's a wall in front of the land, and they have butterfly wings there, though, and it's tore up all over the place, guys. I mean, I can't stress to you how much Future World is just one giant wall.
Yeah.
But like I said, World Showcase is okay if you're heading to World Showcase.
The only reason I could think to make a trip to visit Epcot right now would be to ride Spaceship Earth before they ruin it. I mean, before they change it. Mm-hmm. We don't know what.
The Epcot experience in the Odyssey is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's cool, but it's just to make you feel good about everything being gone.
They always do that. They're like, look, we're building a better Epcot.
You know why? There was a sinkhole.
The entire park fell into a sinkhole. Because
they kept using that with Horizons. People were like, there's a sinkhole, yet you could open it when you needed it to before you tear it down.
Yeah.
So, the sinkhole that is eating up Future World. We went from there, actually, Tristan and I took the Skyliner. Okay, the Skyliner. Let me talk about this for a moment. Skyliner. Okay. Skyliner's cool, but it's not direct. If you want to go to Hollywood Studios, for example, and you're in Epcot, you have to get on the Skyliner. Then you have to go to the Riviera. And then you have to go to the Caribbean Beach Resort. Then you have to get off the Caribbean Beach Resort because it's the hub for the Skyliner. Transfer to either the one that goes to the Pop or to the vehicle that goes to Hollywood Studios. Get in line again, get on that vehicle, and then go back to Hollywood Studios. Tom and our daughter literally walked from Epcot to Hollywood Studios in the same amount of time it took us to take the Skyliner from from Epcot to Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, it's not very convenient, is it? It was supposed to be convenient. You'd think that you would be able to just hop it and go. I mean, literally, it's like right behind.
It's not direct. And then if you want to go back to Epcot, it again is not direct. You have to go back to the Caribbean Beach Resort, catch another one, go back through the Riviera, and then you can go to Epcot.
Yeah.
Take the bus or walk.
I don't know. I just think a lot of what they're doing now, I feel like it's not really fun.
Well, I think it's not very. I think it's ugly, honestly. I mean,
Skyliner,
yeah, I think it kind of makes it look, it's cool to ride. We rode. You didn't get to ride it yet, but because our daughter didn't want to ride it, but Tristan and I rode it, and it's neat. It's neat. Be prepared to be in a car with other people, and sometimes their kids don't stop talking. But it is cool to try at least once. I don't think I would use it again.
It's weird. There were people actually walking by the Skyliner station at Hollywood, and I overheard them saying there's no way in hell they were going to ride it. They're just like, we're not going to ride this.
It's not that scary, honestly. No. But it's just...
I think some people were just afraid of heights, and you're dangling above, and I understand they put them away when it's windy.
Mm-hmm.
If a storm's coming, I'm sure they stop it. But they did have that high profile malfunction
within the first week.
So a lot of people, I think, are afraid. That's why our daughter wouldn't ride it. She was afraid.
Well,
she
and
was
then
afraid to ride it.
At Hollywood and Caribbean Beach and stuff, anything on the Skyliner line, at Pop Century and Caribbean, if it's on the Skyliner line, they only have a bus that goes to Epcot or Hollywood every hour now instead of 20 minutes to try to force people to ride the Skyliner, which they do that with the monorail lines and stuff too. So that's, that's nothing unusual. With the ferry boats and stuff, they do that as well. But just know that if you're staying at those hotels, if you're staying at one of those hotels, it would be cool. If you're at the Caribbean Beach or you're at the Pop or whatever, you get on the thing, you go right to where you need to go. You have to go to the Caribbean Beach and transfer, but you're going to get there pretty easily from those places. It's not a problem. I can see using it all the time. But if you're just, at one of the other hotels and you want to go from Epcot to Hollywood or vice versa, it's a big pain in the butt.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand because for me, especially if you're staying at the one of the Epcot area resorts, like you can just walk to either.
Yeah, we just walked.
Walk.
It wasn't worth the trouble, but
Take
I
an
did
Uber.
take it. Oh yeah, you can take a Lyft or an Uber. I did do it once. We didn't realize it was going to be so convoluted. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's literally right. The backside of Morocco is the backside of the Tower of Terror. How hard is it to?
It's hard because you have to go clear to Caribbean Beach. And then if you want to go like to the Pop, you have to get off and then get on another vehicle. So it was something. But then we went over and we did get to go to Galaxy's Edge and we rode Smuggler's Run, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, it wasn't actually the wait wasn't long. It was like 40 minutes maybe.
It said I don't think it took that long. I think it may have took 30. We got through the line pretty quick. The Millennium Falcon's amazing. The Millennium Falcon looks cool. I was very excited to see the Millennium Falcon. That made my day. But Smuggler's Run is
meh.
Yeah, it's okay.
Look, there's a reason that Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge wasn't packing them in because frankly this is not an e-ticket attraction. It's just not.
It's okay. It's like Mission Space. I think it's
Star
like
Tours
or
is
Star
better.
Tours. I think it's a combination of Mission Space and Star Tours.
Yeah, but Star Tours is better.
As long as you don't lose your phone on it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, he lost his phone. Anyway, that did not go well. But so we rode it, and it's cool. You go through the line, and then you have Hondas sit there and tell you about what you're going to be doing, and then you go a little bit further, and they give you cards, and they assign you 2 pilots, 2 gunners, and 2 engineers. We were the gunners and our kids were the pilots. And there's the holo chess table, and that's really neat. I like the holo chess table. You can sit there and get your pictures taken.
Yeah, well, yeah, as long as you're not being pushed through.
Yeah, well, we couldn't get into it because people wouldn't let us. But.
Yeah, but that it's cool to go through just to be able to go inside the Falcon. They did a really good job replicating the interior of the Falcon, the cockpit.
The floor is a little weird.
The floor is like cheap airport carpeting.
It's like a little springy. Because the people in front of you were joking about how it feels kind of ooh.
Yeah, it wasn't really what I pictured for Star Wars. It wasn't very Star Warsy, but I guess they had to trim back on the budget a little bit because of Bob Chapek.
Well, we don't know that's why.
That is just speculation.
But then you get into the the seats, and it's kind of cool, but it's redundant. And the pilots have the best, I think the best. We just kept hitting the stupid button, and you could hit, I don't know about the engineers because I wasn't back there.
It's a good experience for 2 people of the 6 sitting in the cockpit.
Yeah, and it's really hard. So no matter, I think most people are going to wreck it. You'd have to ride it multiple times to understand it enough to not crash the Falcon. It's fun. It's cute. But like I said, it's Mission Space meshed with Star Tours.
Yeah, and honestly, I like Star Tours better. I don't know. Here's my thing about Galaxy's Edge. There's a couple,
it feels like a Moroccan flea market.
It feels like a Moroccan flea market. It doesn't feel very Star Wars because we don't have. There were some stormtroopers running around or whatever, but again, it's based.
Yeah, we got accosted by stormtroopers.
We did, but I want to see more droids and aliens and stuff like that, and not just sitting around. I want to see more immersion, and people are completely right about that. And don't even get started on the green and blue milk. They were disgusting.
I was going to say, yeah, some people like it. They were pretty nasty. We threw ours away.
We threw them out.
It was like a weird texture to it, too. I can't
paint.
Explain it. It was just...
Gritty.
Oh, I thought it was like watery paint. I don't know. It's just...
Cream of wheat.
No, it wasn't gritty, was it?
Yeah, it was kind of gritty.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought it was kind of like more like if you had oobleck, it was more liquefied.
Oh God, yeah.
But
pleasant.
it was not fun. I understand people said not to do that. We made that mistake. The problem is because now that Rise of the Resistance is open and people are coming in and they don't have hoppers and they're waiting for the boarding passes to be called, it is really busy. And because of that, you can't really look at anything. And the stalls, like in the marketplace, are very small. So you only can fit a few people in the stalls to begin with. And then there's so many people trying to push their way through. And there's just so many people in there. It just was really, I don't know. And then plus it was all like this Batu. And you would, I would hope, like I said, it felt more like a bazaar in Morocco. I was expecting like, it would be great if you could see like a different kind of planet, or something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a fail for me because again, I want original trilogy. I don't want Batu. Batu's not even in, it's not even in any of the movies.
It's gonna be in the books and everything now, but
I don't care.
I don't know. It just
I don't care.
It felt Star Warsy if you were going to like Tatooine or something, but to me, it felt like I wanted to see other places.
Yeah, and I really wish they would have gone all in original trilogy and had Endor
Yes,
and
we
Tatooine.
know. That would have been cool, actually, if you had different
But that's what most people want. I mean, seeing the Falcon in person is an amazing experience. If you can see it without everybody taking selfies in front of it. But it's an amazing experience to be able to walk up to it and be able to see it. And it's to scale. It's 100%, the size of the Falcon. That's cool.
Well, also, we did go to Oga's Cantina the morning, and we went to the next day. We went to see Rise of Resistance. Well, 3 of us went. Tom didn't go because he lost his phone. That's another story.
Yeah.
But you have to have a reservation to get in there. So I'm telling you now, because a lot of people didn't know that, and they're coming up like, how do I get in here? And they're like, well, you need a reservation. And if you didn't have one, they're not letting you in. You get 45 minutes. You're allowed to, there's a limit on what you can, how many things you can order. You're limited on time. We went at the bar. We were up to the bar, which was nice. And it's standing. There's a little bit of seats, but most people have to stand. And we got some cool stuff. We got the Java Juice, and we tried the cinnamon roll and the overnight oats. Not a fan of the overnight oats. The cinnamon roll isn't too bad. Overpriced for what they are, but not too bad. Yeah. And it was like $30-some just for a couple, like 3 cinnamon rolls, a oatmeal, and a drink. So we were in there. It was pretty neat. It's definitely worth going into to visit, but understand it could get pricey.
I think that's my feeling on all of Galaxy's Edge, the rides and the and everything is it's worth doing once, but it's not something I really want to go back to. I think I enjoy Pandora more. Like I will go to Pandora.
I don't feel as pressured almost or pushed or like I do there. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It just feels
it's so chaotic. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's part of the Disney parks either. It feels almost like it's detached, like it's its own, little separate thing.
Which is kind of cool, I guess that's what you're looking for. But it feels like, I don't know, I feel like more calm in Pandora. And here I feel like, oh my God, every time. Not like, oh my God, look at that. More like, I couldn't see things. There's all kinds of cool details. You can't see it because there's so many people. Which is, I guess, a good problem to have because prior to Rise of Resistance, no one was there.
Yeah, that's true.
The other thing was you did the Build a Droid.
Yeah, that was actually kind of cool. So my son and I built a droid. He built the droid, and it's kind of like Build-A-Bear, except you're building a remote control droid, and they have the parts come out in the conveyor belt, and they start at $99. Of course, you can get all kinds of upgrades. It is remote control, so it's like $99. Oh my gosh! But it is remote control, and he enjoys it. And
he was so happy about it.
Yeah, and he's a teenager now, so it's getting harder and harder to find things
that makes him happy.
That makes him happy at Disney because he's done like
he's in
everything.
That moody phase. So he was very happy on Rise of the Resistance as well. So it was nice to see him happy for a change. So you did that, and then you guys went. Then we split up, and we went back to Epcot and 8, and we split up. You went over to Animal Kingdom to do Dinosaur and Flight Passage.
Yeah, 60-minute wait for Dinosaur.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't know
in the evening.
Yeah, well, there were a lot of like cheerleader conventions and stuff that week. It was really bad. And the Super Bowl brought people in. They were doing Super Bowl Sunday parties and stuff.
But you would have thought people would have gone and watched the game, but that didn't happen.
No, they didn't. They were on. Yeah, but Dinosaur now, it's weird. It's actually, I think people do Pandora in the morning and they do the Safari in the morning, and then everybody goes to whatever's left at night. It used to be Dinosaur was a walk-on. Like, we have literally gone down there, my son and I are the only two that even like Dinosaur, and we'll ride it 2 or 3 times in a row because it's get right off and get right back on.
Well, you have to wait a little bit.
A little bit, but not much. I mean, not more than like 10, 15 minutes. And, lately, the last couple times we've gone down, it actually has been busier than, like, Everest.
Well, our son had some funny stories involving people in the line. At Dinosaur, apparently, there was a couple who was very obviously on something.
Oh, yeah.
And he just was in the line talking about how he wanted to touch her boobs. And that they're too bad there wasn't a bathroom nearby. But they were both so out of it, they weren't really paying attention to the fact that people could hear them.
Yeah, there were like little kids around and everything.
And he was like, oh my gosh. And then when you were in line for Flight of Passage, people in front of you he are his heroes now because the one person reached in their bag and pulled out a Ziploc bag full of cookie dough and spoons. And the other one's like, oh my God, I love you.
If you're going to wait for an hour, you might as well wait in style. And actually,
he was like, oh, they're my new heroes.
We didn't wait that long for Flight of Passage. I think we waited less for Flight of Passage than we did for Dinosaur. It was like 45 minutes maybe.
No, while you guys were doing that, Kyrie and I were over at Magic Kingdom, and we did the People Mover, which was cool because we could do it when it was turning dark, and we got a good look at Toy Story, and I had the tracks up and all that. It's really neat. We did, what else did we do? We did Haunted Mansion, and we did Pirates of the Caribbean. So that was kind of cool. And then we went and ate something, and then we were there when the fireworks are going off. Mm-hmm. We were on the backside by Pirates, the backside of the castle. So by the time we got down to the front, it was letting out, so we got stuck in all the crowds. But we got out, we got back to the room, it was fine. And then the last day, we kind of just kicked around Magic Kingdom, and then Epcot, and then came back home.
Then just went back home. So I mean, it was okay. It was busier than I thought it was going to be for early February. We are going to be going back down the beginning of March for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So subscribe to Facebook.
Yeah, we'll be there on the 4th when it opens.
Yeah, we'll be streaming from down there. We're going to try to get a ride-through video of the attraction. We already have our fast passes.
Yeah,
so
we're good to go.
We're good to go.
Okay, so now that it took 40 minutes, we can actually talk about news.
Yeah, we'll talk about the price increases. I think.
Yeah, so everybody wants to know about that. So yeah, yesterday we knew it was coming because it's February, guys. It always happens in February. Last year we got hit twice at Walt Disney World with the annual passes being put through the roof, comparatively speaking, to the year before. But now we had these prices. You can.
Okay, so this is Walt Disney World. We're going to talk about Disneyland too. Disneyland, it's pretty horrible, I guess. But Disney World, they increased their annual passes. They're now up to, was it $12.95 from like 11?
It was like, yeah, it was
$11.95. So $100.
Well, no, it was for the Platinum Pass was $1,119, and now it's $1,195. And the Platinum Plus Pass was $1,219, and now it's $1,295. So when you throw tax on that, you're talking like
about $100.
Yeah, you're talking like $1,400 for the Platinum Plus.
Yeah, and just a year or two ago, it was under $1,000. It was, I mean, you could get.
A year ago.
Yeah, the Platinum, it was like $800 and something.
Yeah, it was a year ago, and they changed it in last summer.
Yeah, everything went up. It wasn't as drastic as last year's, but this could be phase 1 because they did this last year where I don't think it was the annual passes, but the tickets where they had 2 price increases.
No, they did the annual passes with where they jacked it the second time last summer. So they had 2. But now the other ones, like the gold, silver, those have gone up. Gold, if you're a Florida resident, they're $699. They went to $719. Silver is now $539. They're about $20. Weekday Select has gone to $369, they're $20 up, and Epcot after 4 went up $20, or that one they went up 10, from $309 to $319.
It's still getting to a place where I think a lot of people are going to have to ask themselves, is it still worth it?
Well, after the last hike, a lot of people didn't renew their annual passes. Now, ticket prices have increased as well. People said, but because it's by that stupid thing they do at Disney World where it depends on the day, it's harder to tell what ticket prices have gone up. Now, I do know that, how you could have that add-on thing when you got the Hopper Pass and you could go like to ESPN or to Blizzard Beach, or if you had the Hopper Plus, you could go to Blizzard Beach or all that. Well, now you can pay $70 and get that added to your regular ticket without having to have the Park Hopper Plus.
Okay.
But the Park Hopper options went up as well. To get a Park Hopper increased in price also. And then over in Disneyland, they got zonked worse this time.
Yeah, this is crazy. All the news outlets are talking about this, that now some of the one-day passes can start over $200.
Yeah, when you pay for tax and stuff too. They went to a 5-tiered system too, based on guest demand, kind of like what they do at Walt Disney World, which is very confusing and convoluted, and people don't like it.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's going to go well. I mean, we're talking, you know, the least crowded days over $100. I remember people hit the roof when the tickets went over $100 on average. Now we're talking crowded days over $200.
Yeah, over $200
for Disneyland.
That. And then if you add hoppers and stuff like that, my one person I know, they run to go for 2 days, 2-day tickets with hoppers, and there's 3 of them, and it was going to be over $800.
Yeah, I just, I mean, again, this is like the park attendance itself is flat. I mean, they haven't really increased attendance.
There was a slight increase according to the call, but where the money went up was per guest spending because this kind of crap.
Yeah, and you know, we're gonna hit peak Disney. I'm not sure where the ceiling is exactly, but we're gonna get to a place where people are like, you know what? I can't afford this anymore. It's not worth the money anymore. And then we're going to see a massive drop off, I think, in attendance. I don't know when that's going to happen.
No, I don't know.
But they're going to have some steep competition from Universal, at least in Florida, pretty soon. So
a lot of states have their own parks and things to do that are closer and it costs less. But when it comes to the place where you can pay your mortgage for like, you know, a month or pay your car for like several months or buy your medicine or go to Disney, people are going to start picking the things they need to do at home. Yeah. And as soon as we get any kind of economic downturn, Disney's going to be the first thing people cut.
Yeah, and I think people are checking it out now because they have a lot of new rides and stuff. I think through the 50th, we're going to have a lot of people go.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because, you know, we do have all the new rides coming. But after that, because not long after that, Universal's going to open Epic Universe in Florida. They're bringing Nintendo. They're bringing Monsters.
There's rumor Pokemon's coming.
Pokemon, possibly. They're bringing How to Train Your Dragon. You know, and it's probably going to be more reasonable than Disney World at that point.
Now, something interesting, though, which we have to do a story on. Our friends we were talking to, they have people they know that work at Universal. And they were saying that's going to be, the reason they're doing it in the hub spoke way is because then we can close off certain areas. You can explain it because you talked to them more about it.
Yeah, okay, so they do this at Disney now. If you look at some of the newer lands like Toy Story Land, they're set up in such a way that they can basically partition that land off for special events. And they literally do that. You can actually like rent out Toy Story Land for an evening. It's super expensive, but you can do it and you can have an event there. There are other attractions around Disney World where you can rent the venue, like Indiana Jones, and they used to rent out Universe of Energy for events. And the thought process supposedly is that they're going to do this spoke, and they're thinking, oh, it's like Disney. It's like, yeah, it's also like Disney in the fact that you can rent out Nintendo Land.
Yeah, if you want to rent out Nintendo Land, they can close it down to everybody else.
Right.
That's why you rent it out. So you should write a story about that. We haven't done it yet.
Yeah, we should.
But that's the rumors. The reason they're doing it the way they're doing it, and the reason they're having a hub with all these different like offshoots, is because those offshoots can be rented out for events. Because aren't they putting a convention center right there too? Like
I believe so. They're gonna have a hotel, and they're gonna have
So this would be done specifically to make it easier to block those off for events.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's coming, apparently. I mean, that's the rumor. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of stuff going on. The new main attraction line, that's Pirates of the Caribbean for February, will be out on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And it'll go live at 7 a.m. Pacific time. So you don't have to wait up all night this time like last time.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was up all night. One thing that I'm really excited about, I actually cried because I was so excited about this. Rick Moranis is coming back to acting in movies.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. He is going to be coming for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. They're doing I don't know if they're saying reboot, but they're saying that Josh Gad's going to play his son.
Soft reboot.
So, they're going to be doing another one. I'm not sure if it's, I think it's Disney Plus is the way they're talking.
Yeah.
But Rick Moranis is coming back, and we haven't seen Rick Moranis since like,
the last Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I think was.
Like 97 was the last time he was like in a live. Yeah. Actually, wasn't just a voiceover.
Yeah, because his wife got sick and passed away, and he basically took a hiatus to take care of his kids, which I think is pretty cool. That he did that, but really he only did a lot of voiceovers. He was in Brother Bear and so, but he's pretty much been out of the limelight for a long time.
I'm so excited because I was just saying to you not long ago a couple times how much I miss him. Mostly we were talking about Ghostbusters coming back, and I'm like, I'm so bummed we don't get Rick Moranis. I wish he'd come back, and now he's back. So I'm so happy today because Rick Moranis is coming back, and then one more thing, and then we'll go. There was a Disneyland fire on February 6th, and if you didn't know, they had a little fire behind Main Street USA. So it was by the Emporium and the fire department, but the area that caught fire was near the Jungle Cruise. It was just like a grassy area, so nothing got hurt. Nobody got hurt. Adventureland lost power. They think it was a generator, like a generator that was back there that caused it. But everything's okay now. It was open the next day. They issued a statement. That's what it was. And everything's good there.
Yeah, we're all fine here.
But yeah.
It's fine.
How are you?
How are you? So I guess we're going to wrap this one up then.
Yeah.
So make sure you subscribe to Pirates and Princesses on Facebook and Instagram, and we're going to build the YouTube channel back up. Twitter, all the usual places. Go to piratesandprincesses.net for Disney news and views.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.